Hi guys, it's Michelle and happy Friday the 13th. So of course, since it's Friday the 13th, I decided I'm going to be doing a conspiracy theory, and today's conspiracy theories are going to be revolving around children's TV shows and movies and just the different conspiracy theories that are probably going to ruin your childhood, because honestly some of them like actually kind of mess me up, and I think if I were to watch the shows now it might like freak me out a lot. So let's get into it. Also, sorry I'm wearing this sweater again. Honestly, it is the same day because I am pre-filming, because while you're watching this I'm in California. But also because honestly, even if I wasn't, I probably would still be wearing this because it's the damn comfiest sweater I've ever owned. Everybody needs it. From Zara, get it. First conspiracy is something you guys might have heard of. I swear I've talked about this on my channel before, but it was probably like a year ago. My voice. It was probably like a year ago, and it is all about the Rugrats and the different conspiracy that is behind the Rugrats. I remember hearing this theory in like 7th grade, and I went on the bus and my ass told everybody about this theory, all my friends and stuff, and I was terrified and I hated it. Like, this was the point where I hated conspiracy theories because they freaked me out so much. And I didn't want it to be true, but like then I started to accept the fact that sometimes they are true. The Rugrats theory basically goes that Angelica is actually a crack baby. You know, some people think that she was either a crack baby or just a very imaginative kid or schizophrenic or some type of disorder. I like the crack baby theory best because obviously. So basically the theory goes, regardless of the origins of Angelica's imagination, that Angelica actually completely imagined all of the babies, and that none of them actually exist. They are just figments of Angelica's imagination. So according to the theory, Chucky actually died with his mother because it is known that his mom did die, and that is why Chaz is always such a nervous wreck. And Tommy was a stillborn, which is why Stu is always in the basement trying to invent baby toys, because that is how he deals with the loss of his son, who never got the chance to live. And lastly, the DeVilles had an abortion, so because of this, Angelica did not know the gender of the child, so she decided in her head to create twins, aka Phil and Lil. And according to the theory, the only kid that actually exists besides Angelica is Susie. And Susie goes along with Angelica's imaginative personality and like all of her different characters that she has in her head, even though Susie does know that it's not real. This could make sense because it makes sense as to why Angelica is the only person besides Susie that can talk to the babies and talk to adults, which in itself is weird. Obviously it's just a TV show and I get that, but it is kind of strange and it doesn't really make that much sense, the fact that Angelica can talk to the babies and the adults can't hear the babies talk. It's kind of weird. So it kind of makes you think that maybe it could be Angelica's imagination, but it definitely has to be something darker than her just having imaginary friends, because you go into the All Grown Up series, which was a spin-off of the Rugrats, and All Grown Up, literally they're all grown up, so I'm pretty sure they don't have imaginary friends at 13 years old unless she's a crack baby, which clearly explains it all, and she does crack now, so that's that. The next conspiracy theory revolves around another classic: movies, TV shows, everything Scooby-Doo. Basically the series is pretty short because it pretty much revolves around the entirety of Scooby-Doo and like everything that like happens within Scooby-Doo. It's not like specific examples, and it's basically the idea that Scooby-Doo, the original like TV series, is set in a post-depression time after a horrible economic depression. This actually makes a lot of sense, and I truly believe that this was the intention of the entire series, because if you think about it, the entire like town that they live in is really run down. There's like broken buildings, and it looks like it could be in a post-depression kind of era. And not only that, but kind of the biggest thing that like got to me is like all of the villains, when they're unmasked, are normal like everyday people, like a librarian or like a doctor or a teacher or something like that, that is very normal everyday job kind of people. So they're being portrayed as the villains, but realistically they're kind of just having a hard time like everyone else is because of the depression. Like, I guess maybe it could even be like the Great Depression or something like that. But I found this pretty interesting because I think it could be like definitely true, because it would explain like the kind of weird vibes of the town in general, and also the fact that the villains are all like people that are supposed to be like respected in society. I don't know, pretty interesting. The next theory, literally 100% I believe in it, fucked me up, and it is all about Courage the Cowardly Dog. I used to love Courage the Cowardly Dog. I don't know why people said it freaked them out, because I loved it, honestly, maybe because I'm a creepy ass bitch, but I was obsessed with Courage the Cowardly Dog as a kid, but this theory literally threw me for a loop. And it is the idea that Courage the Cowardly Dog is only seen through the dog's eyes, and how dogs really perceive our world. And that fucked me up, man. All of the villains in Courage the Cowardly Dog are only villains to Courage because he is a scared dog and they're just regular people. So it's probably how dogs could see humans that aren't like scary or are bad, that they think that they are scary and bad because they're dogs versus humans. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like imagine being small and like these giant people just like picking you up and petting you and shit. Like, you'd probably be scared too. Another theory about the show is that they actually don't live in the middle of nowhere. They just live in a normal like society, normal house, and everything. Courage only makes it seem like they live in fucking outer space because his owners are pretty old and they don't get to walk him much, so the only place that he knows is like right outside of his house. So everything beyond that seems like the middle of nowhere because he doesn't know what to think of it because he's never seen it before. So like when, like, you know, if you just like let the dog out, he only gets to see like what's around him. So he thinks that the world is just like nothing basically and just really weird. So I don't know, that creeped me out. And I feel like that could be true, like that they meant to write it in a dog's perspective of the world. I don't know, like it was weird. The next conspiracy theory has to do with Harry Potter. I've heard this theory before, but it is essentially J.K. Rowling actually wrote the Harry Potter books and wrote Voldemort to be like Hitler. And I don't know, I think that she said this wasn't true, but I feel like it's still pretty interesting and it kind of holds up a lot, especially with this statement that I'm about to read you. That was a statement written about Hitler, but certain words are crossed out to fit Voldemort's plans, and it literally scared the shit out of me. So I'm gonna put it on the screen so you can see where like the Hitler words were crossed out, but I'm just gonna read it as like the Voldemort side. Once upon a time there was a man named Lord Voldemort. He had a group of followers named the Death Eaters. They hated Muggle-borns and believed that the top race was people who had pure wizard blood. No one seemed to notice that Voldemort himself had a Muggle father. They must have been too dazed by his noseless to notice. That one is a little bit don't make sense. But Voldemort rose to power and killed many Muggle-borns and lots of other people as well, sending a lot of people into hiding. At the end of the Second Wizarding War, Voldemort was killed by Harry Potter. So it's just kind of weird how like the similarities fit. Voldemort himself and his followers are fucking crazy, like the Nazis and the Death Eaters. I thought it was a pretty interesting theory, and I honestly think it holds up pretty well. Whether or not it was her intentions, it definitely is like that. Like, definitely Voldemort could be comparable to someone like Hitler. The similarities creep me out. Next conspiracy theory is honestly a joke, but it's so funny, and I literally died reading this on Twitter. It was hilarious. And basically, it's about the Bee Movie and iCarly. Basically, Barry the Bee had a girlfriend, and his girlfriend looks low-key a lot like Mrs. Benson from iCarly. And they literally have the same last name. And the theory basically is that Freddie Benson is actually Barry and his mom's kid, and he's part Bee. One of the pieces of evidence is a picture of Freddie that says like that's why he looked like a bug, like he's part Bee, and I'm like, honestly, he does look like a bug in that pic. But you know, I just wanted to share it because it was honestly hilarious. The thread was just really funny, and it makes sense. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like, we never see Freddie's dad, so there's that, or hear of him. Like, who the hell is Freddie's dad? Barry, obviously. But it's pretty funny because Nathan Kress, aka the person who plays Freddie Benson, if you didn't know, quoted the Twitter thread and said, quote, "Someone finally figured it out, theory confirmed." So at least Nathan Kress got a sense of humor as well. Honestly, it killed me, so I loved it. The next two theories are around my favorite childhood television show of all time, Full House. And I honestly think this might mess me up a little bit when I try to watch Full House, because every once in a while I'll try to rewatch the series, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it after this. They kind of actually ruined me a little bit. And the first theory has to do with Joey Gladstone. So it pissed me off when people said Uncle Joey, because they literally never called him Uncle Joey. And I'm pretty positive about that. Like, don't call him Uncle Joey. He was always just Joey. That's gross. Please, he's not their uncle. Chill for a sec. But he might be their father, and that's the conspiracy theory. Basically, the theory goes that Joey Gladstone is actually Stephanie, DJ, and Michelle's real father. This theory honestly makes a lot of sense if you look at TV shows very, realistically, I guess, because realistically, it would pretty much be genetically impossible. Not impossible, but very, very, very unlikely for Danny and his dead wife, Pam, to have had 3 children who are blonde, especially blonde hair, and some of them have blue eyes, or all of them have blue eyes. And that would literally be impossible because both Pam and Danny Tanner both had brown eyes. Pam is literally Greek, so I'm pretty sure she was either a fake blonde or like maybe she was just like blonde, and Jesse looks like very stereotypically Greek because obviously John Stamos is like actually Greek. But it's basically a 12.5% chance that one parent with blonde hair and one parent with brown hair could have all of their children have blonde hair. So, I mean, it's pretty off, but you know who does have blonde hair and blue eyes is Dave Coulier, aka Joey Gladstone. So the theory basically is that Joey Gladstone was actually having an affair with Pam before she died, and he is the father of, if not all, at least some of the Tanner children, which could explain the fact that they all have blonde hair. I mean, it's kind of like ruins like a lot of the show a bit, and it makes you look at Joey really weird, and especially because a lot of people think that like Nicky and Alex are also Joey's kid, and then like that's just a little bit too far, I feel like. But then again, Rebecca has like brownish red hair, and Jesse obviously has black hair, so the odds of them having Nicky and Alex being blonde are very slim. So I don't know, but I feel like Nicky and Alex could have just been a written thing, but they clearly wanted 3 blondes to play the Tanner kids, so that's weird. Does anyone else think that's kind of weird? But basically, Danny's longtime friend, Joey Gladstone, moved in after Danny's wife died, you know, to support, which is normal, but like then he stayed for like 8 years. 8 years. That's the weird part about it, and like the part that's kind of makes people believe this theory, because they're like, shit, well, why the hell would he stay there for 8 years if they're not even his kid? Like, he, like, uprooted his life to just live with these random kids and his, like, best friend from his childhood. It's kind of weird. The next theory is, like, really dark, and like I said, it revolves around Full House, and it kind of creeped me out a lot. Essentially, someone created this theory by editing out Michelle Tanner from like the opening credits of Full House, like digitally removing her from it and like from scenes that she was in, and it really just gave me an eerie vibe, and it's called Full House Without Michelle Tanner, and here is a clip of it.
Just got back from preschool, and your sister Michelle has something to show you.
Sure, why not? I'm not that interested.
Steph, just play along. It's Politeness Week in preschool. I'd like you to meet Officer Michelle of the Polite Police.
That like just really creeped me out for some reason, like just him like talking and like Stephanie talking to her as if she like was there, but like she's not there because they digitally removed her. But the theory behind it is that Michelle Tanner does not actually exist. The theory is that Michelle only exists in Danny's mind as a way of coping with the loss of his pregnant wife. So that is like the theory behind that, is that Pam was actually pregnant with Michelle when she got into the car accident, and because she died, obviously the baby died as well. So Danny Tanner, in order to cope with this entire situation, created this imaginary kid within his head, and his friends and family went along with it in order to help their father or friend cope with the situation. I mean, this kind of creeped me out a lot, and honestly, I don't know, like after watching, like I feel like I can't look at Full House the same, and that pissed me off. Because maybe Danny Tanner even got over this as time went on, and like that's the reason they're not in Fuller House, which obviously it's like not the reason, like Mary-Kate and Ashley just didn't want to do it, but like, shit, I don't know, it's still creeped me out. I don't know, it was weird, right? Let me know what you guys think of these conspiracy theories in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments. Which ones do you believe? I kind of believed all of them. Like, I feel like they all had some validity besides like the Barry the Bee and like Freddie Benson. But honestly, I mean, I'd be here for it if it was true. And that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram because I'm always posting really dope ass shit on there. Subscribe for new videos every single day, and I will see you all on Monday. Bye!
What kind of fuckery is this? You made me miss the slick Ricky. Have thought